Walk into the first apartment on a Tuesday morning in March. The guy who lives here is 34. His name is Daniel. Makes $118,000 a year as a senior analyst at a consulting firm. Good salary, great benefits, the kind of job you describe at Christmas dinner and watch your relatives nod approvingly. His phone buzzes at 7:12 a.m., email from HR subject line, important update regarding your position. His laptop is already locked. Badge access revoked. Health insurance terminated effective end of month. Now walk into the second apartment. Same building, same floor. The woman who lives here is also 34. Her name is Priya. She makes $74,000 split across a part-time marketing contract, 3 freelance clients, and a spare bedroom she rents on Airbnb. That same Tuesday morning, one of her clients emails to say they're pausing a project. She loses $1,400 a month. She types back a 3-sentence reply, refills her coffee, and opens her laptop to pitch 2 new clients. Her LinkedIn says, independent consultant. Her parents are still not entirely sure what that means. Priya is fine. Daniel spent the rest of that Tuesday on the phone with HR about Cobra insurance, which costs $2,100 a month for his family plan without employer subsidy. To put that in perspective, that's more than most people's rent. It covers no new medical expenses, and it exists solely to prevent financial catastrophe if someone gets sick while you don't have a job. It is insurance against the insurance going away. Turtles all the way down. Every turtle costs $2,100 a month. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who look financially reckless are sometimes better prepared for disaster than people who did everything right. If you've ever felt vaguely unsettled about how dependent your entire financial life is on one company, subscribe and hit that like button, because today we're going to run the actual numbers on what stable really means in 2026. In 1980, a good corporate job came with a pension. The company bore your retirement risk, not you. Median tenure for workers approaching retirement age, around 15 years. Here is what that looks like today. Median job tenure, 3.9 years, the lowest in over 2 decades. Pension coverage collapsed from 38% of private sector workers to 11%. Among non-union private employees, 7%. The 401k is now what most American workers call their retirement plan, which is worth understanding because the 401k was originally designed as a bonus savings vehicle on top of a pension. Then pensions disappeared and the 401k got promoted. Kind of like when the intern becomes CEO because everyone above them quit. Technically, it can do the job. It wasn't built for it. So when someone says their job is stable, what they mean is their job is currently paying them. That's the whole guarantee. The pension is gone. The long tenure is gone. What's left is we will continue depositing money into your account until we decide not to. A fine arrangement, just not stability. It's a subscription. The other party can cancel at any time. With a 2-week notice, they're not required to give you in 49 out of 50 states. Meta laid off 21,000 workers across 2022 and 2023. Shortly after, they tripled their stock price and announced their first ever dividend. That dividend payout works out to roughly $3.9 million in shareholder returns for every employee they cut. Microsoft cut 10,000 people while posting $88 billion in operating income. Alphabet cut 12,000 workers and simultaneously authorized $70 billion in stock buybacks. Amazon laid off 27,000 people, then posted a record $30 billion in net income the following year. These weren't survival cuts. One analyst called them strategic moves to improve efficiency. Corporate for, we ran a spreadsheet, your salary was on it. Removing it made the next line look better. Here's what layoff notification looks like now. Google employees found out via automated email in the middle of the night. They woke up to find their laptop already bricked, badge access revoked, iCompany Slack gone. A 20-year Google veteran posted publicly, "It's hard for me to believe that after 20 years at Google, I find out about my last day via an email." 20 years, one email. At least they spelled his name right. Companies are running a rational calculation. They have legal obligations to shareholders that they do not have to employees. At will employment, the law in 49 out of 50 states means they can terminate you at any time for any non-discriminatory reason with zero notice required. You probably signed something agreeing to this. It was on page 11 of your onboarding documents, right after the section about the coffee machine. Here's the concept that makes the rest of this click: concentration risk. In investing, it means you've put too much of your portfolio into a single asset. On standard advice, never hold more than 5 to 10% in a single stock. Nobel laureate Harry Markowitz called diversification the only free lunch in finance. JP Morgan research found roughly 40% of all stocks in the Russell 3000 suffered permanent declines of 70% or more from their peak. Companies collapse. Industries become obsolete. What looks permanent turns out not to be. The average American worker has 100% of their labor income concentrated in a single employer, not 5%, not 10%. Everything. Plus health insurance tied to that employer, 401k match tied to that employer, disability coverage, every egg, one basket labeled with the company logo. If a financial advisor saw this in your investment portfolio, they would set down their coffee, make direct eye contact, and ask you to please not tell anyone they let you in the building. This is not a strategy, it is a bet. Your financial advisor would call it catastrophically under-diversified. Your LinkedIn profile calls it senior manager at company. One of those descriptions is accurate. The counterintuitive reality: a freelancer with 5 clients has better income diversification than a $180,000 a year SVP at a Fortune 100 company. When the freelancer loses a client, they lose 20% of their income. When the SVP gets the midnight email, they lose 100% of their income, 100% of their health insurance, and 100% of their 401k match simultaneously. The freelancer looks precarious. The SVP looks safe. The math says something different. You already know AI is replacing jobs. You've read the headlines. You nodded along at the dinner party when someone brought it up. And yet, when you picture the faces of the people losing their jobs to AI, the face you see is never yours. It's a call center worker somewhere, a data entry person, not you, not your specific nuanced, complex work. A 2025 study in Scientific Reports named this the invulnerability bias, the tendency to believe AI will affect other people's jobs far more than your own. YouGov found 48% of employed Americans think AI will decrease jobs in their industry, but 63% are not personally concerned about losing their own job to it. Almost half acknowledge the threat is real. 2/3 have exempted themselves from it, which is also exactly what the 700 people at Klarna thought, right up until the quarter their headcount dropped 40%. Goldman Sachs estimated 300 million full-time jobs globally are exposed to AI automation. In the US, 2/3 of occupations face automation exposure, with 25 to 50% of their workload potentially replaceable today. Administrative and office support, 46% exposure. Legal work, 44%. These are the degree-required career path positions the word stable was invented to describe. Think about what 46% task automation exposure means for an actual person. You've been a paralegal for 11 years. You know the case management software better than anyone in the office. You handle document review, contract summaries, client intake. You are good at your job. And your job is, according to Goldman Sachs, 44% automatable with tools that already exist. Not someday, not in the future. Tools your firm's partners are currently evaluating on a cost per hour basis. You are, from where the spreadsheet sits, a line item with a cheaper alternative. In the real-world examples aren't projections. Klarna's AI assistant handled 2.3 million customer service conversations in its first month, doing the work of 700 full-time agents. IBM announced it was pausing hiring for roles that could be replaced by AI, estimating 7,800 jobs could be automated over 5 years. And look at Chegg. Their stock went from a high of $115 a share to under $3 after students switched to ChatGPT. That is a 97% collapse in value. The market didn't wait for the company to die. It just saw the alternative was free and better. Here's where it gets really fun. And by fun, I mean the kind of fun where you open a spreadsheet and watch a reasonable adult life dissolve in about 90 days. Meet Marcus. He's 38. Makes $115,000 as a project manager at a mid-sized tech company. Good job. Been there 6 years. Maybe you recognize this person. Maybe you are this person. After taxes and his 401k contribution, he takes home roughly $6,900 a month. Your mortgage, $2,400. Car payment, $580. Student loans, $420. Health insurance through work, $310. Groceries for a family of 3, $900. Utilities, internet, phones, $380. That's $4,990 in committed monthly obligations before you've bought a single thing. You have $1,910 left over. Save about $800 of it. Emergency fund, $22,000. About 3 months of expenses. The number financial advisors recommend, and also the number that sounds fine until the scenario starts. The layoff hits, let's count the months. Month 1, unemployment insurance kicks in, roughly $4,200 a month on your salary. Your fixed obligations are $4,990. You're already running negative $790 before you buy anything. You dip into savings. You have $22,000. You start applying. White-collar job postings fell 35% between 2023 and 2025. Applications per opening, 222 candidates, but you're optimistic. Month 1 also brings the Cobra letter. Your family plan cost you $310 a month because your employer was quietly covering the other $1,800. Without that subsidy, your Cobra premium is $2,110 a month. Your spouse has a prescription that costs $340 without coverage. You cannot go uninsured. You pay it. You open a new spreadsheet to track the burn rate. Your monthly deficit is now $2,900 against savings. You save the spreadsheet and don't tell your spouse how bad the math is yet. Month 2, no offer yet. Your savings are at $16,200. You're checking your bank account the way you check your gas tank on a long highway with no exits, not because you're about to run out, but because the number is something you are now aware of at all times. You skip the kids' weekend activities, not the expensive ones, the $25 ones. You start meal planning, not because you're interested in meal planning, but because $340 in unplanned grocery spending 1 week felt like a threat. You become a person who notices the price of pasta. Month 3, your savings are at $9,400. You got a final round interview at a company paying $95,000, $20,000 less than before. You're no longer dismissing it. You pick up a short consulting gig through a contact, earn $8,000, breathing room for now. Month 5, you get an offer, $98,000, you take it. Your mortgage is now 29% of take home instead of 25%. Your lifestyle hasn't changed, your margin has. You start with $6,200 in savings, down from $22,000, and a vague permanent hum of financial anxiety that doesn't fully go away for about 2 years. This is the best case version of this story. You found work in 5 months, had a decent emergency fund, and didn't hit a major unexpected expense during the gap. You still ended the experience measurably worse off than when it started. 2 years later, when the emergency fund is rebuilt, you will still check your bank account more than you used to. Some math leaves a mark. Now tell me what happens to the version of you who had $8,000 in savings instead of $22,000, or the one with $1,600 in car payments, or the one who forfeited $18,000 in unvested 401k contributions when the layoff hit. These aren't edge cases. Marcus's $22,000 emergency fund, it's barely enough, puts him in the top third of American financial preparedness. That's who we're talking about when we say stable job. Here's the part most people reject on first contact. A higher salary at a single employer, typically makes your financial situation more fragile over time. The mechanism is lifestyle lock-in. You get a raise. You sign a nicer lease. You get the car with the better safety rating. You put the kids in private school. You build a life-sized to your current income. None of these decisions are irresponsible. Together, they quietly close every exit. Someone earning $120,000 at a single corporate job, mortgage, car payments, private school, student loans, has committed roughly 82% of their take-home to obligations they can't quickly unwind. Emergency fund covers 3 months. Job search takes 5 to 6. The gap between those numbers is where the damage lives. Someone earning $70,000 split across a part-time contract, 2 freelance clients, and a rental property loses their main income and still has $30,000 a year flowing. Their runway stretches to 9 months. They are more financially resilient than the person making $50,000 more. Nearly 40% of people earning $300,000 or more say they live paycheck to paycheck. 48% of people earning over $100,000 say the same. High income concentrated in one source with high fixed obligations isn't wealth. It's fragility with a better view. Your employer covers the majority of your health insurance. The average employer-sponsored family plan costs $27,000 a year. You pay roughly $7,000, your employer pays $20,000. What they call a benefit is functionally a $20,000 annual handcuff, because the moment you leave, your cost of staying insured goes from $583 a month to $2,100 overnight, while you have no income. Gallup found 1 in 6 US workers stays in a job they explicitly don't want solely for the health insurance, not somewhat prefer to stay. Actively want to leave, still there. That's not job satisfaction, that's a hostage situation with a dental plan. The American healthcare system has arranged itself so that your access to medical care is routed through your employer, which gives your employer a lever on your life that has nothing to do with your performance. The 401k match works the same way. Vesting schedules, typically 3 to 5 years, mean you only fully own employer contributions after you've stayed long enough. 2 years into a vesting schedule on a 6% match at $100,000 salary means leaving costs you $12,000 in contributions you technically already earned. It's like a coffee loyalty card. Buy 9 coffees, get the 10th free, except the coffees are years of your life. And if you leave before year 4, you hand the card back. Combined with healthcare lock, the honest answer to why don't you leave for millions of workers isn't because I love it here. It's because leaving cost me $32,000 in year 1, which is the intended effect. Elegant system if you're the company. Loss aversion. Kahneman and Tversky established that losses feel roughly twice as painful as equivalent gains feel good. The potential loss of salary certainty, of knowing what Friday looks like, registers as a threat twice as loud as the potential gain of income resilience registers as an opportunity. You're not doing bad math, you're doing human math. The job feels safe because losing it feels terrifying. Those are different things. The second answer is cultural. The post-World War II era produced a generation that replaced individual entrepreneurialism with organizational loyalty, what William White called the organization man in his 1956 book. It was written as a warning. Corporate HR read it as a how-to guide. A good corporate job became the definition of a solid adult life. That narrative is still running. It's what parents tell their kids. It gets approval at Christmas dinner. It just stopped connecting to economic reality around 1980. But the cultural residue is still running the show. Then there's the sunk cost fallacy at career scale. You spent 4 years getting a degree for this field, 8 years building expertise in this industry. Your network, your reputation, all rooted in one lane. Building income outside that lane means acknowledging the investment might not be permanent shelter. Like, most people find that too uncomfortable to sit with, so they keep their head down, do good work, and trust that performance will protect them. And then the laptop bricks. Before you quit your job and start a dropshipping business in the garage, I am not saying jobs are bad. A full-time job with good pay and benefits is a great income source. It's a terrible income strategy when it's your only one. The shift from job security to income security doesn't require blowing up your career. It requires building one thing that generates income without your employer's permission. Tom Corley spent 5 years studying 233 genuinely wealthy individuals. He found 65% had at least 3 income streams before reaching $1 million in net worth. Not 7. That circulates online with no source. 3. 3 income streams is where concentration risk starts meaningfully dropping. 1 goes away, you still have 2. You've lost a battle, not the war. Upwork's data found 64 million Americans freelancing, 38% of the workforce, contributing $1.27 trillion to the economy. Full-time skilled freelancers now report higher job satisfaction and comparable incomes to their corporate peers. And 66% say having multiple clients feels more financially secure than one employer. They're not reckless, they have better risk management. The average side income stream generates $885 a month. In the Marcus scenario, burning savings at $2,900 a month, $885 is 3 additional weeks of runway. It might be the difference between accepting the first job offer that comes in and waiting 2 more weeks for the right one. Financial resilience is rarely about large numbers, it's about time, 1 freelance client, a rental, dividend income from an index fund you've been building for 3 years. None of these require you to quit your job. All of them mean that if you get the midnight email, 100% of your income doesn't go to zero. If you've made it this far and you're feeling a low-grade unease about how exposed your financial life actually is, I want you to know that feeling isn't anxiety. That's clarity. That's you doing the math that your employer's HR benefits portal was specifically not designed to help you do. You're not failing at financial adulthood because you took a good job and built your life around it. You did what every reasonable signal told you to do. The good job narrative is everywhere, like parents, peers, LinkedIn, a culture that calcified around a 1960s labor market and never updated. You responded to real signals. The signals were just describing a world that no longer exists. Layoffs during record profits, that's not an anomaly, that's the model. AI targeting knowledge worker roles, that's not science fiction, that's Klarna's earnings call. And the 56% of Americans who can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings include a lot of people with stable jobs. The stable jobs stopped providing stability a long time ago. So here's what I want you to do after this video. Not quit your job. Just answer one honest question. If the direct deposit stopped next Friday, how long could you last and what would still be coming in? Under 3 months or nothing incoming? That's your action item. 1 income stream outside your employer. 1. Start there. Because here is the truth that the word stable has been quietly hiding for a generation. The job title on your LinkedIn isn't your financial foundation. It's your current highest paying client. Treat it like one. Stability is not something your employer provides. It's a structure you build yourself. The people who understood that earliest aren't the ones taking risks. They're the ones who finally read the fine print on the deal everyone else is still assuming they have.